Hey there! Welcome to another episode of my cave building channel. Okay, you know by now that every man needs a man cave, but did you know that every man cave needs a fireplace? You didn't know that, did you? Well, this fireplace right here has been built out of cob, and I've made it a bit larger with a beautiful exhaust. And this exhaust is made of a garbage can and it works just perfectly. Now let me show you how I built this thing, and hopefully I will inspire you to build one yourself. Enjoy watching! If you missed out part 1 where I built this entire thing out of cob, you can watch that right here. Click the link and watch it, but part 2 is much better. So just keep watching. My starting point is this fireplace right here, made out of cob. I've used a whole bunch of wire mesh and half a barrel to create something in mid-air that I want to cover with cob. At this side you can see the other end of the tunnel. The main challenge will be waterproofing this part with cob. Now I'm going to try to use the wire mesh to seal all these parts right here. I'm using all kinds of patches with wire mesh, and I hope that when I fill this up with cob it will keep the smoke in and the fire as well. It's actually quite simple to attach these pieces together with very thin wire. Push it through, you can pull it back in, and then you can just make a knot, and that's it. I'm building such a large exhaust because the first design I made was not so perfect. I had a tiny hole up there, my roof started melting and my rain gutter melted away. Even with a small fire you get intense heat, and it has to be directed away from anything that is flammable. That's why I'm making it this large. The mix I just made is quite thick, very sticky. Just add your mud like this. I'm working my way up against the wire mesh all the way to the top, and I've filled up the entire area over here. I must say that these vertical parts are kind of hard to work on. Looks good. I do have an idea for the vertical parts of this project. I'm going to add natural fibers using these cattails. That's weird stuff. Ah, that's better. See? That's great stuff. Yeah, that sticks quite well. Cool. That works. Look at that. Fantastic. It comes off at first, but if you press it real hard from both sides, it stays on there. Here. So I ran out of cattail, so I had to get back to using straw, but it works just as well. Just use really thick amounts of cob. That works best. Press it on there. See how flexible this is? It's amazing what you can do with wire mesh. This part is all finished. Look at that. Cob in mid-air. There you go. Now I'm going to start on this side. This time I fortified this part with a stronger wire mesh. Now it's not as wobbly as this part right here. So I think this should work. I did add some more water to the cob, so it's a bit more sticky. This just sticks like a maniac. It's much better than the dry stuff over there. Excellent. That's all finished. We'll come back next time and light a fire. Okay, 2 days have passed. Time to get that fire going. Oh, what am I thinking? There you go. A small fire will create enough heat. No need to start a flaming inferno. Hopefully a good fire will speed dry the cob. Once it is dry, we can start plastering this part right here because it looks kind of ugly. The cob is now giving off steam, and that's what we want. High speed drying. Look at that. Now for the plaster we're going to make a mix with more sand in it. So I'm going to grab some of my mud. There. Add some sand. Mix this up. By squeezing your mix, you're squeezing all the clay to smaller pieces, This way you can get a nice and fine mixture, and also you can remove all kinds of rocks, little stones. You don't want any pieces of clay in there, because later on they will crack once they are dry, and that will ruin your plaster. There, look at that. That's just perfect. You're going to need a square trowel and a round one for this. Dip them first in the water. Grab some of your plaster. Like that. Just stuff it on there. Looking nice. We're going to do the other side as well. Okay, that's good enough. We're finished here. Let's come back later. 2 days have passed. It's been raining a lot and it's very windy. You see the rain has washed off some of the cob. So I'm going to do a turbo fast plastering. I'm using a piece of cloth and I mix with cob and cow manure. What I'm doing is I'm going to rub it on there like that. So I can create a thin layer of cob and manure. That's going to be the final layer, and then we're going to dry it and waterproof it. Now what works even better is if I dip my cloth a little bit, a bit more water, then grab my manure mix, start rubbing it. That works better. I'm going to do the same on this side. The nice thing about rubbing this with a cloth is that it gets really nice and smooth. Look at that. And you've added a nice and protective layer. Now this is all finished, so let's get a fire going. There you go. It'll get nice and dry. Wow, what a fantastic exhaust this is. Isn't that amazing? Wow. It is drying really fast. Look at that. It's drying already. Normally you want your cob to dry slowly, but I don't have time for that. It's going to start raining soon. I want it to be waterproof. I'm using coal to speed dry the cob. Now what you need now for waterproofing it is boiled linseed oil. This thing, when it was full, was about 35 bucks. Start painting it on there. The cob is still warm. It will soak it straight up. Alright, there you go. It's really dark. Here this wall has been waterproofed as well. That makes the cob really dark. I think it's kind of ugly, but it works. The other side is not completely dry, but well, that's too bad. That's it, we're done for the day. Let's come back later. Again, it's 2 days later. The storm has finally passed. I'm heating up a mix with 50% oil and 50% turpentine, and we're going to add that as a next coat. That stuff smells pretty bad when it's warm, but this way it gets soaked up better. So let's add another coat. Both sides are done. They've been coated for the second time. So it's now time to finish the other parts of the exhaust. I'm going to work with more cob. I've already covered a few areas here. So we're starting out with the base, straw and cob. Then this plaster, a sandy plaster. Once this is dry, we'll add another plaster with cow dung. And then we'll waterproof it and then it's done. So that's it. Well, I've plastered the entire fireplace. Looks really cool. We'll come back later. Alright, that's all dry. Now I'm going to wipe it down with a wet cloth to smooth it out a bit. Now that's what you want, a nice smooth surface. This is actually my favorite part, because you're turning a chunk of cob and wire mesh into a piece of art. Just wait for it to dry and you'll see. This stuff dries really fast, but it's not completely dry. Still, I'm going to throw in the stinky stuff, cob and manure. Just a thin layer, that's all. Well, let's turbo dry this thing. I'm now waterproofing just the part that is dry. That's because there's rain showers coming in and this roof is a bit leaky. So I want to protect these parts, and the other parts I'll do that later. It's now 1 week later. It survived the rain showers. You can see some drip holes right here. So that's actually a good thing that I waterproofed this part. I lighted another fire so it dries out completely, and then I'm going to waterproof the whole thing. It's been waterproofed all the way. I have to do a few small adjustments and then I'll show you the results. Alright, music please! Enough test fire. You can't have enough test fires. Always test your stuff, man. Okay, I found a simple way to raise the exhaust by using a garbage can. Absolutely perfect. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you like this fireplace. Build one yourself. Subscribe if you like. And remember, every man needs a man cave. If you can't find one, you build one. Nice. Lovely. Also great for barbecues. Mmm. Mmm. Mmm.